Greetings, brothers. An interesting week. Today we're going to talk about Ultramarines. On Friday we're going to talk about Imperial Fists. And let's talk about why we are talking about these other detachments in this quick video tonight. So we're at a point in this edition where we've cycled all the way back to the start and Ultramarines are getting a release. So Ultramarines, obviously they're just getting the new Calgar mini. We've talked about that briefly. Now you're getting an upgrade sprue if you needed one for Ultramarines, and this is all the bits and bobs. We're not going to touch on that too much. What I want to talk about in transfers as well, I mean, if anything to go by, the other factions like Blood Angels, etc., get these upgrade sprues and the transfers in one box, and they're in the region of like 25 bucks. So if you need more Ultramarines transfers, I can't imagine you would, because you get them in literally every Space Marine box, but they'll be there with an Ultramarines upgrade sprue. But what I want to talk actually tonight a little bit about is this combat patrol. So this combat patrol is 3 aggressors, very useful in Blood Angels. They've come down in points. They were good in 8th edition. They were good in 10th edition for a little while. So as we move into 11th edition, there's probably a good chance aggressors will be competitive. You've got 3 Blade Guard there. Blade Guard have been played throughout this entire edition. Very good unit for Blood Angels. You have 5 Reavers. Now Reavers have been uncompetitive pretty much the majority of the time since they came into the game. They once became competitive for like one small balance data slate where they're able to like shoot, move, shoot or something like that. But it didn't last for longer than a hot minute. And I think probably Reavers are going to need a redo next edition because no one really runs them. They're not a great unit. So getting them, it's almost like a joke that you can use their headpieces, and their headpiece with those skull masks are super cool in Death Company models, just FYI. And you do get unhelmeted and helmeted versions in the kit, so you get both. So you basically get 10 skull masks with 5 Reavers. So there's a lot to like there about their helmets, but I think they have been so uncompetitive this edition. The chances of them getting something like different rules, a better rule in 11th edition is probably pretty high. Then you have 5 intercessors. Sticky objectives is always useful. Everybody's fielding intercessors. They're a lot better now that their bolters shoot 4 times. So intercessors are definitely really, really useful. And all that is like chapter agnostic, right? So you can use that in Blood Angels, we can use that in Imperial Fists, we can use that on any chapter that we want. And then we have Chief Librarian Tigurius down here, or Tigurius. I probably always say his name wrong. I'm not an Ultramarines player. However, I do have this model, and I have played him. And I want to tell you a couple of things you can do with this model. So what I have done with this model is I have covered the U that he had in his chest with a little Blood Angels shield. I have filed the U that he had on his knee off. I have deleted the U he had at the top of his staff and his top of his backpack and replaced them with Blood Angels pieces as well. So essentially, and then I replaced his one shoulder pad he had as well that had the Ultramarines logo on it as well. So he has 5 Ultramarines logos on him. I have replaced all of them. So with a little bit of effort, you can remove essentially all the Ultramarines heraldry. I think the only U I haven't been able to remove is this tiny little U in the book. But I guess what that means is with a little bit of work and filing, this guy can very quickly also become a chapter agnostic librarian with a staff. If you ever do want to play Ultramarines next edition, he's great to have because Ultramarines have had some very competitive detachments, and essentially by buying this combat patrol, you are still going to get a lot of value for money, right? Because Tigurius, which we could just replace as a Chief Librarian, is 28. Aggressors are 37. Blade Guard are 37, so you put all that together, you're already over 100. You're then getting 5 Reavers, which would be 20, and you get 5 more Intercessors, which would be 20. Bearing in mind, you can buy these combat patrols from somewhere like Element Games, which there will be a link in the video description for, and in the UK you will pay 80. So you're getting over £140 of models, all of which could be used for Blood Angels, all of which could be used for Ultramarines, gives you options. Remember, at the start of this edition, start of 10th edition, Blood Angels were garbage for like 9 months before they changed our detachment, what was it, Sons of Sanguinius, from +1 strength to +2 strength. Now, this could happen again. I'm not saying it will, but it could happen again where Blood Angels or their detachments, or we're waiting on a codex, we're in a really tough spot, we have a really low win rate, we had a low win rate, like 45% for a very long time. So if you are thinking of getting 2 or 3 of these units anyway, and maybe you need a Librarian on foot, or maybe you need some more Blade Guard and Aggressors, all of this stuff is Primaris. People always ask me what's safe to buy right now. I don't know what's safe to buy right now in terms of what's getting Legends, but I feel like Primaris are overall a pretty safe choice. So these will be coming up for pre-order soon. I would imagine that means about a month away, and this is the new Blood Angels Combat Patrol. This is the new Ultramarines Combat Patrol. But regardless what you do, paint it red. And then if you need down the line to proxy some of these things, bring them into another chapter. I'm hoping, right, if we go back to the Codex Space Marines 10th edition, 10th edition Space Marine Codex had 0 melee detachments inside the basic core book, right? You could argue, I suppose, that like First Company was kind of a melee detachment, but that detachment has been really bad and has been needing a rework probably since it was released, right? So in 11th edition, if we're going to get new Codex Space Marines, which seems highly likely, is it going to have a melee detachment in it that could use Aggressors, Blade Guards, Reavers? Highly, probably, likely. So if you're looking to expand your army and you're looking to save some money, this is a fine combat patrol to buy for Blood Angels, and it also gives you the option of taking Tigurius, playing Ultramarines as well at some point in the future. And spoiler, Tigurius is crazy strong, right? Like, I had him kill, like, I think it was 5 Sangre Guard on my stream a few weeks ago when I was playing against the Ultramarines in, like, 1 round of shooting. Like, he does, like, 11, -2, 2 damage. He is bonkers good. So, just a very quick one. There's going to be more videos about this, or not this combat patrol in general, but there's going to be more videos as we come up to the new edition. There's new models, there's new rules, there's combat patrols. I'm going to try and cover a bit more of a broader spectrum from Space Marines for 2 reasons, right? 1, it gives us more options, and 2, it lets us know exactly what we're going to play against. It's kind of an absolute pet peeve of mine when you come up to a tournament and you're playing an army or a detachment that you don't know so well, so you potentially can't look them up in the Games Workshop app, right? Because you didn't buy the codex. So if I'm covering them, try and think of it as a way to know your enemy. And like, I guess I made a video about this before. Like, I've had sometimes to play Blood Angels versus Blood Angels in tournaments. And I feel like when I do Blood Angels versus Blood Angels, I always win. Why is that? Because I know exactly what my enemy can do 100%. I know every trick in the book. I know what he's going to throw at me. So I think if I'm covering some of these other detachments, while you don't necessarily need to play those detachments, hearing why they make me strong or what combos could be the ultimate victory in those attachments is something that could be very, very useful. Leave me a comment down below anyway. Thanks for watching. Tell me, would you buy this combat patrol? I feel like I already own everything inside it, but I think if you're getting started, this is probably going to be useful units for you to have from the rest of 10th edition and moving into 11th. By the blood are we made strong, my friends. Peace.